We're tracking bitter cold and potentially dangerous cold as we enter this weekend across southern Ontario. It's a lobe of the polar vortex and it's diving further to the south, engulfing much of the Great Lakes and even areas south of the border over the next several days. In fact, this cold stretch will last right through the end of January, making it the longest cold stretch of the season so far for many folks across Canada. It's also been paired with some active weather. We've experienced some very cold air, but also very gusty winds out of the west-northwest. Those winds will stick around for the remainder of the day and through the overnight, driving these lake effect snow squalls. Again, today it's more of a west wind, so a lot of these squalls will be entering parts of the GTA at times, reducing visibility and giving way to local blowing snow. But we are expecting the higher amounts of snowfall to accumulate north ends of the GTA and up across our typical snow belts, where we have more of those bands locking in place over several hours. You can see after midnight tonight, there's still some active weather in and around the city of Toronto and further to the north. Tomorrow morning, those winds will shift from the west to the northwest, and that will likely impact the areas right along the Huron and Georgian Bay shorelines throughout the day and potentially right through Friday evening, where we do have snow squall warnings and watches in effect. Now, in terms of those winds, they're still quite gusty for the remainder of the day. They're gusting close to about 40 or 50 kilometers per hour in parts of the GTA. And then for tomorrow, the winds are slightly stronger, over 50 kilometers per hour. Again, more of a northwest wind will really allow for temperatures to plummet and wind chills to approach that dangerous territory. We're talking about wind chills below that -20 mark, possibly into the -30s as we enter the weekend. Tonight, -13. Still that chance of some on and off lake effect flurries will feel closer to the -20s. And of course, we are closely watching this track of a major and historic winter storm south of the border, likely to bring prolonged periods of freezing rain, ice pellets, and heavy amounts of snow to parts of the south central and even the mid-Atlantic states. It really gets going Friday. It spreads its way across the states throughout this weekend. Saturday looks particularly bad in terms of that freezing rain potential. It pushes into parts of the Carolinas, the mid-Atlantic, and of course New England up towards parts of the Great Lakes, ending off the weekend into early next week. Now that swath, in terms of the heavy snow potential, it looks like we're just getting skirted by the outer skirts of this storm on Sunday. So snowfall totals, we're not seeing the brunt of this system, but of course it's still far away that things can really change. There's an outlook of that heavy amount of ice. We're talking about inches of ice and prolonged power outages. The problem with this storm is very cold Arctic air is moving in behind it. So once power is knocked out, it's going to be a big problem for many areas south of the border. There's that heavy swath of snow I was mentioning. That potential of some of it pushing into the Great Lakes is certainly on the table. And some models want to actually skirt this storm a little bit further to the north, which means we will likely get into more heavy snow. And right now it's looking to be about 20 or more centimeters possible. And that's not considering the fact that there could be some lake enhancement with very gusty winds off of Lake Ontario. But for areas north end of the GTA, northern parts of Ontario, probably not going to be seeing much out of this storm. We'll closely watch the track of that as it progresses closer. -14 on Saturday. It's a very cold and dangerously cold start to the weekend. -10 on Sunday. Closely watching that winter storm impacting us here at home with significant snow possible throughout the day and through the night on Sunday. That will ease on Monday morning. Still very cold. Feels more like -24 once you factor in those winds. And extreme cold continues right through the end of next week to end off the month of January.